Hello and welcome back to the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities here at the Council of Europe in Strasbourg, a sunny Strasbourg I should add. I'm Charles Amponsa, and joining me with some interesting news here is Luis Jimena Queseda, President of the European Committee of Social Rights. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Now, the Czech Republic has just ratified the additional protocol providing for a system of collective complaints. How important would you say this ratification actually is?
Well, I think it's a very important news, and it's important not only for the Council of Europe, but also for the effectiveness of the protection of social rights and human rights in general. Sometimes we say that recognition of human rights has no sense without specific guarantees. So that's the case. Under the Charter, together with the reporting system, the original reporting system, the real mechanism which provides for more visibility and effectiveness to the Charter is precisely the collective complaints procedure. So I think it's a very important news, and it is in the light of the important declaration of the Committee of Ministers on the 50th anniversary of the Charter, which encourages member states of the Council of Europe not having already ratified the revised charter or the collective complaints procedure, the protocol provided for a collective complaints, to do so. So it's very important. On the other hand, it's a pity that the two houses of the Czech Parliament accepted this instrument, the protocol provided for a collective complaints procedure, in 2003, but just because of an internal political controversy concerning the signature of the Czech president, the final acceptance of this procedure has been done now. It's a pity. During these 80 years we have lost the time, as you wish now.
Could we go back then over the background of this procedure and how it functions? Tell us more about that.
So the collective complaints procedure is the judicial procedure. Judicial procedure means that we have this contradiction between the parties at the procedure, the rights of defense, equality of arms. It's like the procedure before the European Court of Human Rights. But by contrast, here we don't have these individual applications and the exhaustion of all domestic remedies. Here, in the case of the collective complaints, the name comes from precisely the idea of having a general approach to the violation of human rights, and also it's in relation to the organizations entitled to submit the complaints. Which are the organizations entitled to do this or to submit these collective complaints? The national and international trade unions, the National International Organization of Employers, and also NGOs having a participatory status before the Council of Europe, and in some cases national NGOs, if it is accepted by member states. For the moment, unfortunately, we have just one country having accepted this possibility for national NGOs. It's the case of Finland. And the functioning of this procedure, we have two stages: the admissibility, as well as the merits. And the procedure is very efficient in the sense, insofar as in only an average of 11 months, we take a decision. 4 months more or less for the admissibility, and then 7 months for the merits. And that's very important because we have a role of prevention. That means that it is not necessary to exhaust domestic remedies, and this is an advantage because we may take decisions and like this to prevent from internal conflicts and even conflicts before the European Court of Human Rights.
Yes, it is a lengthy procedure, but
yes.
Do you think this lengthy procedure means that only 15 out of 43 states bound by either the 1961 or the revised charter have ratified the protocol? Do you think that's the reason, the length of time?
I don't think so. Really, I think there is no real explanation. It is inconsistent with the pillars, the goals of the Council of Europe. I mean, with the goals
so
are...
why have only 15 signed and ratified?
I mean, there is no consistency from this point of view, because if the three pillars of the Council of Europe are rule of law, democracy and human rights, why not social states social democracy and social rights. And if we talk on indivisibility of human rights, implies likewise indivisibility of guarantees. There's no justification. In fact, as I said, the most important thing is having guarantees. And even one of the pretexts nowadays is the crisis. But the crisis cannot be a mere pretext to reduce social rights or to introduce social cuts. Precisely the ratification by the Czech Republic shows that in time of crisis we must increase the protection of social rights.
Do you think this might be a spur to other countries who haven't ratified, who may be thinking to themselves, look, we are in a financial crisis here, let's think about getting out of this first before we take on social commitments? Do you think this should be a good point of departure for other countries?
Yes, a good point of departure, but in order to have this positive approach, in the sense that the collective complaints procedure may be positive for the country, as a kind of source of legitimacy. That means if you have the idea of adopting social cuts or legislation in the field of social rights, and you would like to have a quick solution from Europe in order to assess the situation, whether it is okay or not under the Charter, after only 11 months, you will get the solution. Just to give you an example to be understood by people in general, by citizens in general, in the case of Hungary, after the exhaustion of all domestic remedies at the internal level, there have been more than 8,000 applications before the European Court of Human Rights at the beginning of this year, 2012, in January. So if Hungary had ratified the collective complaints procedure, in this case it could be possible to avoid this conflict at the internal level as well as at the European level in order to avoid the workload of the courts. Thousands of applications is too much for the court.
Yes.
It is not able to manage with all these individual applications. So
yes, 97% or so are not actually admissible in the end. Yes.
If we had a previous solution, we could avoid this kind of conflict at the internal level.
Now, what is being done by the committee to encourage states to ratify the protocol? What's being done physically to get them to put pen to paper?
Yeah. So I have to in this case, to talk on two levels. I mean, from a judicial point of view, it is not consistent to accept just the social charter and reporting procedure, the reporting system, and not to accept the collective complaints procedure. Why? Because when we assess the national situations, the case law we elaborate in the framework of the collective complaints procedure, it's applied likewise to assess the situation under the reporting system. There is a kind of feedback and a kind of, normally we use, nowadays we use the term, it's kind of euphemistic, but cross-fertilization. Yeah. I mean, if I assess the situation of one country having accepted the collective complaint procedure with regard to one provision, and we have a case law, a previous case law, elaborated in the collective complaint procedure, we are going to apply this interpretation to those countries. So from the judicial point of view, it's not consistent. And from an institutional point of view, what we do is in many meetings we have in the different countries, the state parties to the Charter, we always insist in the need of the necessity of ratifying the collective complaints procedure, just to establish the level of guarantees together with the recognition of social rights. And apart from this, it is essential, according to me, our contacts. We have intensified the contacts with the other institutions of the Council of Europe. That means we are working in close collaboration with the Committee of Ministers, which supervises the execution of our decisions, with the Parliamentary Assembly, and of course with the Secretary General. Their commitment is very important for us at this political level to encourage a state to ratify the collective complaints procedure and to keep this consistency with the pillars of the Council of Europe.
Luis Jimenez Quesada, President of the European Committee of Social Rights, thank you very much indeed for that detailed explanation. That's all we have time for here at the Media Box. Join us again soon. We'll have more for you then. Goodbye.